Over the weekend, Paul George was suspended 25 games without pay for violating the league's anti-drug policy. In a statement to ESPN, George said he took improper medication while dealing with his mental health. George will be eligible to return March 25th at home against the Chicago Bulls. So what does Paul George's suspension now mean for the 76ers? Wendy.
Well, it's obviously not a good thing because the Sixers were just beginning to really ramp up, and Paul George has been playing some very good basketball. You know, his role is not what they thought it was going to be when they signed him. Because basically Tyrese Maxey has become the team's, centerpiece. But Paul George is having a great shooting season. In fact, he had a game last week where he made 9 3-pointers. And spreading the floor out for Joel Embiid and VJ Edgecombe and Maxey is very valuable to the team. That said, if you're looking at the other side of it, this team has gotten used to playing without Paul George. They do have, a number of wings on the roster that they can lean on during this stretch. So they start a tough West Coast trip tonight here in LA against the Clippers. So that's going to be a challenge right out of the gate here. And this sounds, weird, but, and the fact that it cost Paul George $12 million, no joke either. But the struggle with Paul George is keeping him healthy. And so one thing that if you're looking for a benefit is, he'll come back late in the regular season. It increases the chances of him staying healthy, even though this is obviously something very difficult for him to deal with.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think they, similar to the conversation we were just having about the Lakers, the Sixers know what the future is, and that is around Tyrese Maxey. Could Paul George be beneficial? Yeah. The Knicks just played them last week when they had all three, Embiid, George, and Maxey. They did manage to get the win, but you can see sort of what the vision was with if all three of those guys are healthy and available. But I'm with Wendy. To have him back late in the season, healthy, I don't know the details of the suspension. I assume he still can be around. I don't know for sure, but if he's still a part of team activities and, leaning his veteran expertise, that's a positive, especially for a guy like VJ Edgecombe, right? Like, their games are not similar, their size is different, but he is a rookie who's been fast-tracked in terms of being able to be a productive member of the Sixers early in this one. This is sad. There's a lot of questions I have around it because mental health is something that we take very seriously. I have a hard time with how this has come down because I would think that the league would want its players to be in the best position possible mentally and physically.
Well, listen, Paul George, obviously, when healthy, was a terrific player. And he's one of the best people, I think, that you can cover in professional sports. He's class personified. So when you hear something like this, you feel bad because he accepted accountability for it. Obviously, he's got some issues going on with his mental health, and he was taking some medication, and evidently he was mistakenly doing so. Nevertheless, we still have an obligation to look at what kind of effect it's going to have on the Philadelphia 76ers. If you're a Sixer fan, you've been disappointed. He didn't play too many games last year. Now he's going to miss games, an inordinate amount of games already. This is after having left knee surgery in offseason and missing games at the start of this season. They're 16-11 when he plays with them this season. They're 11-10 without him, okay? But this is the same guy you signed to a 4-year, $211 million contract. You expected more. And even with Joel Embiid not necessarily healthy, he's averaging like 34 over the last 7 games. He's averaging 26 on the season, okay? And in the end, he's playing more games than Paul George. That's not a good sign. But I will say this, Paul George being out, Wendy, I don't necessarily agree with you in terms of him having a terrific shooting season. I know he's come on a couple of games as of late, but he's shooting 42% on the year. 38% from three-point range is not bad, but 42% from the field, that's certainly not what he usually shoots. So I wouldn't say he's having a great shooting year. He definitely is somebody that benefits the 76ers when he's on the court with Embiid and Maxey on the rare occasion that he is. VJ Edgecombe can use this as an opportunity, hopefully, at some point, to capitalize off of it. He is giving you 15 a game. I'm just of the mindset that, again, this is not a plus. It's not the minus that everybody thinks it could potentially be because that gives him additional time to rest his body, get himself in shape, and be ready because they're the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're expected to make, to be in the playoff picture. And if Paul George misses these 25 games, obviously so, once he comes back, he certainly will have his body rested. Right. He should be even healthier than when he departed, and who knows what that can translate into. But as of right now, this is not news that you want to hear if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, not with the money you doled out for him. I can tell you that much.
One thing I will say, you certainly aren't wanting a $50 million 3-and-D player, but a 40% three-point shooter who defends like him is important for a team. What will be interesting between now and Thursday, this money that Paul is coming out of Paul's pocket, it actually favors the 76ers because it reduces their luxury tax bill immensely. The last couple of years, when Joel Embiid has been injured, the Sixers have made moves at the deadline to get under the luxury tax, which they actually could do again here because they're now so close to it. But now that they've gotten a little bit of extra space, will they make a move to add to this roster? And then there's another potential offshoot that could happen out of this that they can try to spin it into a positive. We'll see.
Okay, so there's an interesting wrinkle. The Sixers, by the way, on the road for their next 5 games, doing the West Coast road swing. The Thunder bounced back from losing 3 of 4 games with a nice win over the Nuggets on Sunday. SGA scored 34 in the 121-111 win, while the team held Jokic to just 16 points in his second game back from that knee injury. OKC is now 5.5 games ahead of the Spurs for that 1 seed in the West. But, last 10 games or so, they've been a little bit up and down. Monica, who would you rather take? Do you think OKC is going to win the West or the field?
So I'm taking the field, basically based on history, SA and Shay. The last time we had back-to-back was 17, 18, or 18? Yeah, 2017, 2018. The last 7 years, there's been a different champion. I think it speaks to where we are in the league. I do not mean that as a slight against the Thunder, but just what we've seen as of late. It's hard. It's hard to win 1, let alone 2.
Okay. What do you think, S.A.?
I'm going to disagree with Eminem.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask this question, albeit rhetorically. Did those folks have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I feel you, but I'm old enough to remember us having a similar conversation about Boston is all I'm saying.
32 a game, still a superstar. 3rd year in a row, he's averaging over 30. Reigning league MVP, NBA Finals MVP. By the way, they're 39-11, and keep in mind that Jalen Williams has missed at least 24 of these games. I'm just 24 to 26 of these games. I'm like, wait a minute now. I'm not worried about them that much. The Spurs gave me cause to pause because you got that 7'5" dude in Wembanyama that they got to deal with. But I mean, OKC is clearly the team to beat. I'm not really that worried about them as of yet.
We know they to beat the team to beat. So you taking them to repeat?
That's right.
That's the question.
I'm taking them to repeat. I'm taking them to repeat. I'm not
It
taking the
feels
field.
like
I'm taking them.
The field feels generous. Like maybe it should be like Timberwolves, Spurs, or Thunder.
Yeah.
Like those
There's
three,
a few teams that can actually do it.
Maybe we could throw in the mix. All right, thanks for hanging out with us today on First Take. Eminem, it was good to see you.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, that made me nervous. See you tomorrow.